It's Friday. It means it is time for the Daily Beat. I'm Ben Shields, hanging out with Dakota Morrissey, news editor at dailytrib.com. It was a busy news week, all sorts of stuff happening. And you know what? Last week we talked about the rock crushing plant. Well, let's talk about it again this week. There was big news that happened this week when it comes to TCEQ. So what's this?
That's right. The Texas Commission on Environmental Quality has solidified its air quality permit for this rock crusher, meaning it's a done deal.
So is it going to happen?
Well, it's not. This isn't the only thing that needs to happen. You have the LCRA that still needs to weigh in, and then you have a few other government agencies, maybe even the Central Texas Groundwater Conservation District. There's a lot of alphabet organizations that still have to weigh in on this, but the TCEQ is a major player. And despite having their own sort of internal watchdog say, hey, you need to take a second look at this, 4,000 comments saying we don't want this thing, and some questions about whether or not they delved into this deep enough, they approved it. It's a done deal. It's going to happen, at least on their end.
So there's still, as you just mentioned, some other roadblocks to it.
Yes, there's definitely other things that can and will happen leading up to whether or not this gets approved. But the TCEQ is a major player, and their part in it is just the air quality part. So we're talking dust blowing around mostly, that what they're worried about. Because a rock crushing operation produces a ton of particulates into the air, to use their word. And those particulates can lead to health problems. They can get in the water. They can mess with foliage. All sorts of things. The TCEQ regulates that, so that's what this specific thing is in reference to.
Have you gotten any response from opponents of the rock crusher plant or residents that live near the area? Have they responded yet to this?
Oh, we've heard a lot, just in the comments sort of following this story is the questions of why approve this when there's evidence against it and you have your own internal group sort of saying it wasn't enough. So this is very recent news. It just this week, Friday was their deadline on whether or not they were going to do something, and they didn't do anything. So we're still figuring out what's next.
Yeah, we've been talking about this for quite a while now, and y'all have been staying on top of it, and you'll continue to stay on top of it at dailytrib.com. Yes. All right, so earlier this week, big deal in Marble Falls, they had a groundbreaking for the water plant.
Yes, I know wastewater isn't the most interesting thing on the planet.
But it's important.
But it's very important.
Yes.
You can't have, in the words of Mayor Dave Rhodes, water is economy. Without it, you don't have one. I thought that was a pointed statement he made when I talked to him. But this wastewater plant is the largest public project the city of Marble Falls has ever undertaken. It's $86 million. It's a state-of-the-art facility. Then it doesn't have an equivalent in Texas. It's sort of this new technology that's going to allow the recycling of used water to be used again, and that has obviously far-reaching consequences. You can use less overall water from the lakes. You're not as dependent on LCRA water, and that's part of it. And this should keep the city served for over 30 years. The project won't be done until like 2030 something.
Okay. So this is a long project then.
Yeah, it's a big, but it's a huge deal. It's going to take quite a while. But like I said, you're probably never going to even see this thing. People turn on their faucet, water comes out, they flush the toilet, water goes away. That's usually the extent, but there's a lot of infrastructure that goes behind that. And with how fast Marble Falls is growing, this wastewater plant is essential for growth.
Now, were you out at the groundbreaking this past week?
Yeah, I was at the groundbreaking. There was dozens of people there. It was pretty momentous. Like I said, it's sort of this transition of Marble Falls going from being this kind of tiny Highland Lakes town to being, this is a real change, and they're preparing for there to be more people here than ever before.
All right, dailytrib.com to read more about the groundbreaking of the new Marble Falls water plant. Okay, Dakota. This happened this past Saturday, but we had local elections, and they had 4 bonds up for Marble Falls ISD, and good news for the school district, all 4 passed.
Not only did all 4 pass, it was by a big margin, 75%, 69%, depending on the proposition. So this wasn't just approval, this was sort of overwhelming approval in favor of all 4 of these bonds, totaling $172 $0.2 million.
So what now?
So what now? The first major project they're doing is a overhaul of the traffic system at Highland Lakes Elementary School. Have you ever driven past Highland?
I have.
Yeah, if you go at the wrong time, there's traffic backing up all the way down 1431. So this was an A priority project that they're going to try to tackle before the beginning of next school year. But this is just one thing. They're going to get to work on the baseball stadium for the high school soon. And a host of other projects, but they have to kind of sell these bonds and get the actual finances rolling. But these things are going to happen over a span of years. It's not all going to happen at one time.
All right, so over a span of years, for now that the bond election has passed for Marble Falls ISD, and dailytrib.com has more on that as well.
Yes,
and what comes next? And this time of year is always busy because you've got all sorts of stuff happening as far as extracurricular activities. You've got the Marble Falls High School Theater. They are going to state yet again.
Yeah, they're having a solid run, and there's been such a successful program. It's cool to see what they're up to.
And your high school intern did a story on that?
Yes, our high school intern, Jack Smith, a junior at Marble Falls High School, did a wonderful story on the one-act play troupe and their run to state. We're really excited to see what they do.
And then Hail to the Victor Avilas at Burnet High School, the track star, brought home 2 gold medals for the Bulldogs.
Yes, 2 golds and a silver right here, at state.
Incredible.
Incredible.
Awesome.
Very proud of him, bringing honor to the Bulldogs and to our little towns.
Well, congrats to all the local athletes at Marble Falls, Burnet, Faith Academy, Lano. They do such a great job. All right, Dakota. So dailytrib.com. You've got all these stories this week. Dailytrib.com, and you can also subscribe. Dailytrib.com/subscribe. It is the Daily Beat on K-Bay. Thanks, Dakota.
Yeah, good seeing you, Ben.